Welcome, brothers and sisters, to Morning Heart Devotion. And to start, we'd like to offer greetings to our Heavenly Parent and true parents. 천징 참부님께 경배. 바로. And to lead us in the family pledge, I'd like to invite up Reverend Milhan Stevens.
가정맹세 1. 자녀극 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 본향 땅을 찾아 본연의 창조의 상인 지상 천국과 천상 천국을 창건할 것을 맹세하나이다. 2. 자녀극 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참부모님을 모시어 천주의 대표적 가정이 되며 중심적 가정이 되어 가정에서는 효자, 국가에서는 중심, 세계에서는 성인, 천주에서는 성자의 가정의 도리를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 3. 자녀국 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 4대 신정권과 3대 왕권과 공족권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 4. 자녀국 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님의 창조 이상인 천주대 가족을 형성하여 자유와 평화와 통일과 행복의 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 5. 자녀국 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 매일 주체적 천상세계와 대상적 지상세계의 통일을 향해 전진적 발전을 촉진화할 것을 맹세하나이다. 6. 자녀국 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참부모님의 대신 가정으로서 천운을 움직이는 가정이 되어 하늘의 축복을 주변에 연결시키는 가정을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 7. 자녀국 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 본연의 혈통과 연결된 위하는 생활을 통하여 심정문화 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 8. 자녀국 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 자녀국 시대를 맞이하여 절대신앙, 절대사랑, 절대복종으로 신인의 일체 이상을 이루어 지상 천국과 천상 천국의 해방권과 석방권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Thank you, Reverend Milhan. And to open us up in prayer, I'd like to invite up Mr. Greg Breland. So, Mr. Breland, if you can please unmute and offer your prayer.
Good morning. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Parent, thank you for another day, another opportunity to really fulfill our potential, to really live the way you want us to live. Thank you for your love that so we study the divine principle as we teach, as we share. We're just astounded at how much care and how much energy and how much of yourself you put into all of creation, and especially to us. Heavenly Parent, we are grateful to be alive at this time with true parents on the earth, with Mother leading the providence, and with so many things happening this past week in Korea. It really gives us hope, gives us energy, gives us determination to really proceed. Heavenly Parent, you instilled within each of us a spark of your divinity. And we just pray we can live up to that each day. Each day is a precious opportunity to really make the most of the opportunity, make the most of all that you've invested in us and in creation. We pray for our brothers and sisters who are in the movement and our brothers and sisters who are about to understand the profundity and the magnitude of your truth. We pray we can reach them with your heart and with your love. I thank you have this opportunity to study with Dr. Yong and with our brothers and sisters Pray you can guide us and work through us today. To offer this prayer, report these things in our names, Greg and Keiko Breland, plus Central Family. Aju.
Aju. Thank you, Mr. Breland, for opening us up in prayer. And now, brothers and sisters, we'd like to take this moment to go into any breakout rooms and share any gratitude and appreciation. And so if you're prompted to join a breakout, please click join. And if you're unable to at this time, please just take this time to write down your gratitude points. So let's go into our breakouts. welcome back, brothers and sisters. I hope you had a wonderful time sharing your gratitude and appreciation towards one another. And to share with the whole community first, I'd like to invite up Mr. Serge Brosseau. So Mr. Brosseau, if you can please unmute and share.
Thank you, Yasu. Yeah, I'm grateful to be outside today. I hope my Wi-Fi stays the course there. But yeah, I was impressed by Yasu yesterday when he showed up there to give a hand to Tal. And really, such a wonderful young man. I really appreciate him. And I was sharing this morning that I don't know Greg Breland so much, but I met him and his wife at one of the first workshops that Dr. Compton gave at the IPEC a few years ago. And I was really happy to hear Greg's report a few weeks ago about the activities in Connecticut. There, he's retired now, but him and his wife are still very active. It's great to see that. And you know, we just saw incredible event in Korea with the Chunjong Gun and the opening and everything that happened there. But in America, True Parents give us IPEC and Chunchim One over there. I was there a couple of months ago. It was a wonderful experience. I didn't have a chance to go to Korea this time, but I could watch everything online, and it's such an incredible thing. But also the Chunchim One that True Mother gave us last year is a very important thing, and soon we'll be opening one in Montreal, and I'm looking forward to it. So we have a lot of blessings from True Parents, and I hope we can use them well. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Brosseau, for sharing and recognizing a lot of the blessings in life and just being excited and looking forward to definitely establishing a Chuncheon One in Montreal is going to be wonderful. Hope it will be a wonderful experience altogether. And thank you for sharing. And to share next, I'd like to invite up Mrs. Kyle Peterson. So Kyle-san, if you can please unmute and share. Oh, Kyle-san, are you able to unmute at this time? Oh, there you go.
Sorry, I did this before too.
No worries.
Sorry. My gratitude this morning is my life, how God has been guiding my life of faith. Over 45 years of my life. I was thinking last night after sharing my heart with one of the very elder member of our church in Japan. Listening her testimony and the deep contents of her life of faith, I realized that, wow, we are truly chosen individuals. We all carry the cross that only we can restore. And such an incredible privilege, God's trust and love from our two parents. This is incredible blessing, regardless of what we go through. And I don't pity myself, even though I've gone through so much. When I think about my life of faith, it was miracles, just miracles. I could not overcome my faith alone. I came to this point of providence. Is incredible blessing. And listening our true mother's prayer and speech, I am many times. I'm reading every night since mother spoke. And I was kind of pinch myself, yeah. Yes, I am living this time. We are all historical figure, just like Noah, Abraham, and all historical figures that we are representing our ancestors. This strong feelings, then I have to overcome. Still, I have so much to overcome. I have to be really work together with my brothers and sisters, and I want to develop my love and embracing and sharing our mother and Chongwon to my close pastors and friends and the workers and co-workers. And I'm very grateful. I'm very sorry. Today my heart is not prepared when Yasam was on the share room. My heart was bumping. Oh, what shall I do? What shall I do? So this I can share with you this morning, my heart. Thank you very much, brothers and sisters, being there, being together. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kaya-san, for sharing so honestly the challenges, recognizing the challenges that you have, but also understanding the role that you have right now as we're living with the living Messiah, I think, and to be able to use that as a way to overcome your challenges and make new determination is really powerful and wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your attitude with all of us. And with that, brothers and sisters, thank you for really uplifting the spirit and sharing your gratitude and appreciation. Now we'd like to take this moment to prepare our hearts and our minds to well receive our internal guidance for this morning heart devotion from our regional president of the United States, Dr. Chon-Sik Yong. So welcome, Dr. Yong.
안녕하세요. Good morning, my dear brothers and sisters, clergy and ambassador for peace. 안녕하십니까? I have already longing heart to go to America to see each one of you, my brothers and sisters. Today, I'd like to talk about God's ideal family and the Kingdom of Peaceful Ideal World 2 from True Mother's Anthology, Volume 2. Let's study.
God's ideal family and the kingdom of the peaceful ideal world too. Ladies and gentlemen, I have said that in the age after the coming of heaven, we must recover the true lineage that was lost when Adam fell by receiving the marriage blessing through the true parents. The providence of the marriage blessing should be perfected through 5 stages: the individual, the family, the tribe, the race, and the nation. In this way, let us fulfill our divine mission as blessed families in the age after the coming of heaven by restoring and establishing the ideal 3-generation family on the world level. This is the same purpose for which Jesus came to the earth, which he sought to accomplish before passing from this world. Therefore, the true parents are now leading all tribal and national messiahs to unite and bring to a final end the improper relationship between the political sphere, representing the Cain realm, and the religious sphere, representing the Abel realm. With this providential will in mind, my husband and I have declared that a second Chanjangun Peace Palace for the religious sphere will be established in Geneva, Switzerland, a city with a significant history regarding the relationship between the religious and political spheres.
Yeah, we are now living in the era of 천일국 and the era of the 천일국 after passing through the age before the coming of heaven, when all indemnity has ended. In this age of the 천일국, we must recover the true lineage that was lost when Adam fell by receiving the marriage blessing through the true parents. The providence of the marriage blessing should be perfected through 5 stages. Father talking about the 5 stages. You need to understand what the 5 stages of the marriage blessing. The individual, the family, the tribe, the race, and the nation. In this process, each blessed family's mission of the tribal Messiah is the most important portion of the responsibility. Until now, We have held the blessing ceremony up to the tribal level, but there has been no record of the nation being restored through the blessing at the national level, right? From now on, in order to bless on a national level, you have to activate the blessing more through heavenly tribal messiahship. This is very important. So without fulfilling heavenly tribal messiahship, we cannot have the national level blessing. That's why I think what the main purpose of the HTM is to restore one nation, one sovereignty, one people through HTM blessing. On a worldwide level, each blessed family must restore and establish an ideal family in the realm of the 3 generations, and externally, they must fulfill the mission of the tribal Messiah. When all blessed families complete this mission of the tribal Messiah, all historical bloody struggles can be finished. That's why our final mission as the blessed family, that is the tribal Messiah mission. That's why not just only giving the holy wine, on the street. Really, we need to follow up thoroughly and then let them really become the core members. And then also let them become the heavenly tribal Messiah. And also they can also multiply continuously. Through this kind of the level of the blessing, we can finally reach it to national level blessing. Living divine principle, the human history is the history of the providence of restoration, centering on the words of the Bible. Let's study EDP.
Bible. Fourth, let us investigate this issue from the words of the Bible. The purpose of human history lies in the restoration of the Garden of Eden, with the tree of life standing at its center. Because the first human ancestors fell, the Garden of Eden was claimed by Satan, and the way to the tree of life was blocked. Human history began with Alpha and will end with Omega. At the end of history, the hope of fallen people will be to enter the restored Garden of Eden and approach the long-lost tree of life. Thus, the Bible teaches that the goal of history is the restoration of the Garden of Eden with Christ, who is to come as the tree of life as its center.
So let us study Father's word.
If we eat from the fruit of the tree of life, we can live eternally. The book of Revelation states that people will eat the fruits of the tree of life and live forever. Even God, as well as Adam and Eve, have been longing for that world. So if you hope and yearn for that world, you can enter the eternal world, the world of love. Do you understand? Do you want love without ups and downs, or love with ups and downs? Love with ups and downs. Therefore, it's only natural that if there is a woman who loves God and her son more than her husband, she will receive love from her husband eternally. Even though she loves God and her son more than her husband, if her husband could say thank you, heaven will be with her. What is true love? True love is to love my husband, my wife, and my descendants from with heaven and earth. The Unification Church calls this the 4-position foundation. Do you understand? Yes.
The book of Revelation states that people will eat the fruit of the tree of life and live forever. Even God, as well as Adam and Eve, have been longing for that world. You need to eat the fruit of the tree of the life. What does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean to bear fruit from the tree of life and eat from it? It means to receive the blessing and becoming part of God's direct lineage, giving and receiving with true love and living forever. In other words, receiving the blessing, becoming a direct descendant of God, and fulfilling the four-portion foundation in the family. Wow, our divine principle is very clearly explained. A family with a four-portion foundation is to love your sons and daughters more than yourself and love heaven more than your husband. What is the true love? True love is to love one's descendants and one's husband and wife as heavens and the earth. Next.
The secret to search for a principle. When you search for a principle, the secret to find it is to see it if the beginning and the ending are the same. If it is good, the beginning and the ending would be exactly the same. But when an invisible plus power is added to the good, it makes God's history progress. Therefore, a person who tends to change is an evil person. That person is bound to be an offering to evil. That is an ironclad rule. Even though he had been a good person, if he kept on changing his good attitude, eventually he becomes an offering to evil. Satan works with such a strategy. Thus, if the Bible is truly the word of God, the beginning and the ending must be the same. Fortunately, the Bible states that I am Alpha and Omega. Those are very wonderful words. These are exactly the words that we have been waiting for.
Yeah. Do you know what the secret is when seek the principle from true Father? It is that the beginning and the end of any truth must be the same. God is the same as the beginning and the end. The beginning and the ending would be exactly the same. But when an invisible plus power is added to the good, it makes God's history progress. That's why a person who tends to change is an evil person. Very important point here. Any person who keeps on changing their good attitude eventually becomes an offering to evil. Anyone his character, okay, very much changeable, cannot keep first the motivation and determination. And finally, he or she can become an offering to the evil. No matter how good the person was at first, when that good attitude changes, that person will eventually become a victim of evil. Are you always the same person? Are you a person who is always fickle? Are you the kind of the person who decides on something and puts it into practice to the end? You need to think about it. Are you changeable or not? If you are very much changeable, anytime you can become a victim of evil, or you can become an offering to the evil. That's why Satan is always changeable. Cannot keep first the motivation, right? Fallen man is easily put to betray, easily change the heart and mind. Are you really doing, about 1 hour EDP, 30-hour EDP, whenever you determine to do? Are you carry on? Okay, your hundok, the reading condition? How many of you really keeping our continental about the condition, attending morning devotion no matter what? You need to be always keep first the motivation no matter what. If the Bible is the word of God, the beginning and the end must be exactly the same. The truth of the Bible is that it says, I am the Alpha and Omega. I want to have that kind of faith, my brother. I want to have a faith of Alpha and Omega faith. Alpha and Omega faith means from the beginning and the end, must be exactly same. Even 10 years before, even 10 years later. Wow, you are always a loving person. You are always a giving person. You are always embracing someone. Your attitude is never change. How can we have that kind of faith of the Alpha and Omega, right? Alpha and Omega. You know, God's God's attribute, what is God's attribute of His nature, unchanging, absolute, eternal. You know, that's why God's character is the character of the Alpha and Omega. The book of the Genesis in the Bible talks about the hope of the building the tree of life, and the last book of Revelation in the Bible says that we must bear and eat the fruit of the tree of the life. Looking at this, there is no way to deny that the providence centered on Bible is the providence led by God Himself. That's why Bible is really amazing. It really God's truth. You know, in the Genesis talking about the tree of life, and in the Revelation talking about, you know, of the tree of the life. It is really amazing. Alpha and Omega is the same. So, you know, once you determine, well, once you make up your mind to serve God, accept true parents, and then you accept divine principle as eternal truth, your faith should be Alpha and Omega. Never, ever betray God. Never, ever betray true parents. Okay? We cannot divide the relationship between father and mother. None matter what. You know, we need to attend them, serving them, okay, as our eternal true parents. So you need to have that kind of the mindset, you know. If you are changeable so much, easily you become offering to the evil and Satan. And Revelation here, that's why, Revelation 21:6, I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning at the end. I am. Right? Not only God, not only Jesus, not true parents. Dr. Yong is Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. You know, our Dr. Word, I am, he is Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. Right? Our Shinmyo Sensei, he is Alpha and Omega, the beginning at the end. I am Alpha and Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end. How much beautiful. Keeping first motivation and our loyalty until the end never change. How beautiful. Even though, you know, you see the ocean, you know, the surface of the ocean is so much changeable, this and that. But when you go more deeper, you know, under the sea, so calm. Even though our external environment so much changeable, this and that, so much difficulties, but in your heart, so much calm down, unchanged. I really love this word. I am Alpha and Omega. Dr. Yong is Alpha and Omega. You are Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. Right, my brothers and sisters? God's attributes are not, capricious. It's always the same. Therefore, those who resemble God's attributes are always unchanging. People who change eventually become sacrificed to Satan. So you must go to the end without betraying God and true parents until the moment you die. Today's youth ministry, my brothers and sisters, if you set the standard of the filial piety, heaven will guide you in everything. This is one of the very, very important content. So let's study well and also carefully. So Heavenly Honey, please read.
How did True Father live the life of a phoenix? How did True Father live the life of a phoenix? It is because True Father, more than anyone, felt and knew God's Han, sorrow, and pain. He said that the reason why True Father's life course had to be serious at any moment was because he lived with God's sorrow and Han. As such, True Father could not rest even for a moment and went on the pioneering path at the forefront. True Father is a lump of Han that embraces God's Han and is the manifestation of God's wish. That is why in any environment of death, True Father did not die and survived like a phoenix. Since True Father knew God's sorrow in all things, True Father led a life and death life, risk-taking. He thought that even the smallest thing was a confrontation with Satan and fought hard. Because he lived with such a desperate mindset, he survived the Hunnam prison, overcame and triumphed over all of the difficulties.
How did True Father live the life of a phoenix? What is the secret that allowed True Father to survive in the environment of so much suffering, persecution, and death? It is because when True Father met God, he personally experienced his heart, his sorrow, and his pain. True Father knew the circumstances and heart of the forlorn God and lived with the desire to liberate such a God through his life. Because True Father knew the plight of God better than anyone else, he could not rest for even a moment and walk the pioneering path at the forefront. True Father is a lump of hand that embraces God's hand and is the manifestation of God's wish. That's why in any environment of death, True Father did not die and survived like a phoenix. And why did the True Father have such a risk-taking attitude even for the smallest things? It is because True Father treats even the smallest thing as a confrontation with Satan. Because he lived with such a desperate mindset, he survived 6 prison sentences, and including Hunnam prison, overcame and triumphed over all of difficulties. Next.
Think of being married off as a Hunnam prison course and overcome it. When you receive the blessing and get married, there are many difficulties lurking there. Therefore, you who have received the blessing should think of being married off as the course of the Hunnam prison and overcome everything while thinking of True Father. When you receive the blessing and go to your in-laws' house, every situation will be surrounded by horizontal environments. No one welcomes you. The in-laws are just a prison without bars and high walls. Even if your in-laws do not have prison-like bars and high walls, you are married in a horizontal environment and among people. So it is still like going to a prison without bars.
Yeah. Blessed family also face many difficulties and challenges while walking the path of the will. So how can they overcome this? Some people receive the blessing and get married, facing many difficulties, right? While others go through the unbearable trials while pioneering the path of their will. However, True Father show us a model to overcome all those sufferings persecutions, and difficulties before us. Therefore, no matter how challenging the course we face, there is nothing we cannot overcome if we think of True Father's course in Hungnam prison, which was the most arduous, right? When have you gone through a course of the Hungnam prison in your lifetime? Once again, I'm asking you, when have you gone through a course of the Hungnam prison in your lifetime? Did you have that kind of time period of the Hungnam prison in your lifetime? Know that your journey in Hungnam prison is rather an opportunity for a bond of heart to get closest to God. When you receive the blessing and go to your in-laws house or to pioneering environment, there will be many circumstances where no one will welcome you because every situation is surrounded by horizontal environments. We human live in an environment of the hell ruled by Satan. The environment we are in is mostly prison-like with no bars or high walls. Therefore, even if we face difficulties and hardships and sometimes even face with a limiting situation, and when we think of True Father's journey in Hungnam prison, all of it rather become God's grace and become something for which we can thank God. That's why whenever you face your own course, like a Hungnam prison course, this is the really great opportunity to have really artistic relationship with God, right? My brothers and sisters, that's why we need to thank God. We need to appreciate God. God give us this kind of opportunity to experience like a True Father, and we can have a more closer relationship with God. Next.
Blessed wives who have to overcome the prison-like environment. When a woman receives the blessing and marries into their husband's family, all of them are treated horizontally. You are the daughter-in-law of this family, and you are my wife. In a way, the wives of blessed families may feel like they are in an environment where they were kidnapped into a horizontal view of life. In Japan, our blessed families were abducted by Christian pastors, but most of our blessed wives who married in Korea, Japan, the United States, or other countries were not welcomed. So it must have been a prison-like environment.
Next.
You have been sent as emissaries of True Father. In such an environment, you must be grafted into the heart of God like True Father. The horizontal environment of your in-laws and your horizontal lifestyle must be completely crossed over. So you must start living a vertical life. Think of it like being sent as emissaries of true parents, True Father. True parents' wish for you is to go into your in-laws' house and create a vertical family centered on heaven. True parents are the ones who wish to establish parents-in-law as vertical parents-in-laws, husbands as vertical husbands, and children as vertical children. What does it mean to set a vertical standard? The vertical standard refers to the standard for establishing filial piety. The in-laws may not know God at first, even if you don't necessarily say the word God. If you establish this vertical standard of filial piety, they will eventually come to know God. It is God's wish that the married-off daughter-in-law be filial to her parents-in-law, and the husband and wife should be filial to each other with a heart of filial piety to the parents-in-law, and to be filial to their children.
Yeah, even though the environment you are in is like a prison, you should rather be grafted on into the heart of God like a True Father in such a place. Wives who have receive the blessing and enter their husband's family must completely cross over the horizontal environment of their in-law with the realm of the heavenly environment. Think of it like being sent emissaries of true father. True parents wish for you to go into your in-law's house and create vertical family centered on heaven. His true parents wish for you to go into your in-law's house and create a vertical family centered on heaven. True parents are the ones who wish to establish parents-in-law as a vertical parents-in-law, husband as a vertical husband, and children as a vertical children. What does it mean to set a vertical standard? The vertical standard refers to the standard for establishing filial piety. The in-law may not know God at first. If you don't necessarily say the word God, if you establish this vertical standard of the filial piety, they will eventually come to know God. It is God's wish that the married of daughter-in-law be filial to her parents-in-law, and the husband and wife should be filial to each other with the heart of the filial piety to the parents-in-law and to be filial to their children. So when you conquer your parents-in-law or your own parents by filial piety, and then finally that kind of attitude of the filial piety connect to God directly, even though you do not externally do not say God. So as long as you have that kind of beautiful vertical concept centering on filial heart, filial piety, everybody at the end came to know who God is. Because the vertical alignment, which is a filial piety, belongs to God. This comes originally from God. That's why anyone have the attitude of the filial piety, without exception, can connect to God directly. What does fall? Fall means become horizontal, very much humanistic, no connect to God particularly. That's why through filial piety, how can we really create a kind of standard to stand up as a filial sons and daughters, right? So, fall is horizontal. That's why, how do we make how do we set a vertical standard? To create vertical standard, you need to understand the real meaning of the filial heart, filial piety. Next.
If you set the standard of filial piety, heaven will guide you in everything. Even if we call God our Father, we cannot all say that we are God's children. If you think of the other person as heavenly and show filial piety in an exemplary way, you are a true person. A person with filial piety has a bright heart and knows heavenly fortune. If you set the standard of filial piety, because you know you went as the emissaries of true parents, heaven will teach and guide you through your dreams. If you show filial piety to your parents with a heart of filial piety to heaven, the spirit world will surely guide you, and you will immediately know that the spirit world protects you. If you think you are going to be in a dangerous environment, they will tell you in advance. And it shows both good things to come and bad things to come. Since heavenly fortune comes to those who are filial, the spirit world informs and guides them about their future. A family living vertically cannot be unaware of the future. Sometimes a magpie comes in advance and announces the coming of a guest or news.
Yes, children who are filial to their parents are very sensitive to their parents' every move. So they know their parents' circumstances and feeling better than anyone else. Therefore, if you show an exemplary filial piety, filial heart in the family, your mind will become clear and you will be able to see through everything. This is because a person with filial piety has a bright heart and can feel heavenly fortune. Therefore, my brothers and sisters, here is a very important point, okay? Let me tell you the conclusion. Therefore, as long as you have a heart of the filial piety towards heaven, as true parents' emissary, heaven will teach and guide you through your dreams. If you show filial heart to your parents with the heart of the filial piety to heaven, the spiritual world will surely guide you through dreams. As long as you have that kind of mindset, it's very clear. I really want to love God. I want to serve my parents. As long as you have that kind of the right attitude, your mindset and your filial piety, God guiding you everything, because your attitude already right attitude, right principle. The way to be protected and loved by heaven is to be filial to God. If the spiritual world knows that you are filial in front of heaven, it will let you know in advance you are about to find yourself in a dangerous environment. And it shows both good and bad things to come. Since heavenly fortune comes to those who are filial, the spirit world informs and guides them about their future. Families living vertically cannot be ignored of future because God teaches them. So why we cannot receive any inspiration from God? Because we don't have that kind of mindset of the filial piety. We don't have the right attitude of the filial heart. That's why spiritual world cannot intervene you, cannot guide you properly. Today I talk about if you set the standard of the filial piety, heaven will guide you in everything. Thank you very much.
Another incredible guidance to all of us this morning. We really appreciate it. And to hear a living testimony for today, I'd like to invite up Reverend Mark Hernandez, who serves as the ACLC National Executive Director, and he'll be sharing on the ACLC and YCLC pilgrimage in Korea that just took place this past week. So with that, let us welcome up Reverend Hernandez.
Thank you, Yasu. Can I share? Thank you. I see Tal saying yes. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your patience. And before I begin, I just pray that I can really do this well. I was asked by my son to offer a testimony about my experience in Korea. And so I wanted to be a report and also a personal testimony. I don't think we can ever really separate the two. Our public lives and what's happening to us inside are connected. Dr. Yong made that point personally to me about what I went through in January and February health-wise. And again, my gratitude for prayers that any one of you may have offered for me. Thank you so much. The pilgrimage there to Korea began, really our activities began on the 3rd, but some activities began on the 2nd. We had arrivals on May 1st and 2nd. May 3rd, you see, we joined the opening plenary of the Peace Summit. On May 3rd through 4, we joined with KCLC and taught and presented Principles of Grace seminar. That was American Christian pastors presenting to Korean Christian pastors. We did a Holy Ground pilgrimage. On the next day, we went to the Cheonshim-won and prayed at the invitation of Dr. Yong, who prepared so wonderfully for us there. And then we went to the Cheonjeong-gung for the tour there. Between the two of them, Dr. Ki-Hoon Kim hosted us for lunch at the Magnolia restaurant. Then on May 6th, we went to the Chumpadong Church and prayed at the DMZ as well. And then finally on the 7th, we celebrated True Parents' 80th birthday, the Cosmic Blessing, and the dedication of Heavenly Parents' Holy Temple, the Chunwon-gung. It's not moving. Let me see. Oh, there we go. One thing we did to kind of get on top of things is we realized with Zoom, the culture of Zoom, that we could hold orientation before we went there, so that everybody wouldn't be, everyone could really be on the same page. This was one of the nights that we met together, and it worked out really well that we could go over the advisory that we'd made, the trip advisory. I want to thank Young Soon for all that she did. Young Soon Quinn for all the work she did, even though she was getting caught up with her going there for the blessing. This was the hotel that we stayed in. It's called Dragon City because it looks like the shape of a dragon, up, down, up, down. On the May 2nd, we were still processing arrivals at Incheon, but Joshua and his YCLC crew really ignited and inspired all the YCLC participants to go and rent hanbok costumes, walk the streets of Seoul, and go down to the palace there in central Seoul. They had a great experience. I'm sure we'll have more reports about that. Their pictures are just fascinating. On the May 3rd, we were granted permission to attend the opening plenary of the summit. And as usual, these opening plenaries that feature True Mother, they're just jam-packed, especially, all of our Korean elders just get there quickly, and no matter whose name was on that seat or what the seats were marked or set aside for, they're no longer available. So many of the ACLC clergy were standing. We had a profound experience there. Reverend Jackson, who really is the heart and soul behind this trip, together with Dr. Rouse and Joshua Holmes. Dr. Jackson saw that Tanya Edwards was seated near the aisle where Mother would be entering. And of course, the Universal Peace Academy young men came in, women too, in their blue suits to be the ones who were like attending Mother as she enters. And Dr. Jackson said to Tanya, since you have a seat right there on the end, poke your face through the guards and greet Mother. And she goes, I can't do that. I have to go through these people to do that. But actually, just when Mother was coming towards her, she poked her head through and said, hello, Mother. And Wonju McDivitt, who was guiding Mother into the summit, she said, oh, look, Mother, it's Tanya Edwards. And Mother greeted her and went on her way to the stage. It was amazing because she stopped, she paused to engage with Dr. Tanya Edwards. And we're so grateful for Dr. Tanya doing what Reverend Jackson told her to do, because it really, it gave Mother a face-to-face with a cherished member of ACLC. And then ACLC was on Mother's mind. We didn't realize how much we were on Mother's mind. The next day, actually the same day, the 3rd, we went back to our hotel and found lunch in the neighborhood and met together for a profound program of ACLC bonding. And then after that, in the evenings on the 3rd and the 4th, that's a Wednesday and Thursday, we met with KCLC. The breakthrough sermon or the breakthrough word came from Bishop Abram Dixon. He's an acolyte of Bishop Noel Jones. That's him there head to head with Reverend Jackson in the right of your screen. And he delivered a word called One Sound. That was this title from 2 Chronicles 5:13 through 14. And that we were really there for the consecrating of the temple, and that we really need to make one sound. We really need to come into deepest unity with our True Mother and as the ACLC. We had presentations and visits from Dr. Yong, from Dr. Ki-Hun Kim, and many sessions were emceed by Joshua or by Antonio Bowen, his co-director or co-national director of YCLC. But this display of prayer and tears, the pictures that Graham Carmichael was able to capture, just amazing. I want to thank Graham Carmichael for working with ACLC, and for Reverend Jackson having the brilliance of mind to hire him as our photographer. And it's just wonderful. Later on that evening, we had the first of our KCLC, ACLC Principles of Grace seminar sessions. It went from around 5 in the afternoon till about 9 in the evening. And that was on the evening of the 3rd and the evening of the 4th. There's a slide there of Dr. Mark Abernathy teaching the principles of creation, especially the 3 blessings. And he was talking about really honing in on the first blessing, being that one, which is, of course, to become mature in character and in heart and in resonance with God. And Hannah Huntington did a great job of taking his slides and translating them into Korean so that our Korean brothers and sisters, the ministers from KCLC, could exactly understand what we were reading in English. And we see Stephen Kim, the head of the KCLC, and his vice president, Laura Yong. And just from table to table, every table was a scattering of the Korean pastors and our American pastors and staff. The next day, May 5th, as you all know, May 5th was a rainout for the dedication of the Cheonwon-gung. And so Dr. Yong with President Lee Ki-sung, they prepared seats for us there in the Cheonwon-gung. And actually, this whole session was kept for us. I heard people came to the Cheonwon-gung to pray. Brothers and sisters came to pray, but they were told to come back later, that there was a program going on specifically for the American Clergy Leadership Conference pastors. Of course, these pictures show us kind of sitting down, but we did the resonating prayer, Abaji, Omani, we did everything. And it was truly a really precious time for us to be together there in the room, there in that prayer hall. And then in the misty fog, we would make our way eventually to the Cheonwon-gung. But before that, we stopped for lunch. And this picture on the left shows Reverend Jackson with an envelope in his hand and a little bag here. Such an amazing love from our true parents. So after Mother saw Dr. Tanya Edwards there, Mother's eyesight is not that great for long distance, looking at things. She has to see them close up. But she saw Tanya close up. And then Wanju called to find out who were the ministers who had come. What were their names and what was the names of their churches or ministries? And Mother sent to the restaurant Reverend Kim Du, who really does an amazing job of taking care of and attending Mother for all of us, both in Las Vegas and during this time here. He came to Korea and did the same thing. And Mother sent him down with a gift for each of the clergy. And Dr. Jackson went table to table. First, he made a general presentation, which he's doing in this picture here, and then he went from person to person, giving the gift. And of course, before he did give the gift, he announced that the way of receiving in the heavenly tradition is to receive it with both hands. So it's so precious to see all the clergy really bow their heads and receive this precious gift, this envelope gift. Inside it was $1,000 in Korean won. And most of the clergy used it in the gift shops. There was actually a pilgrimage going on, a Holy Ground, a HJ Holy Ground pilgrimage going on that same day, May 5th, where with brothers and sisters from around the world visiting the Cheonwon-gung and visiting, of course, the Cheonpyeong grounds, the training grounds, the HJ Chumbo Training Center grounds. May 6th was a powerful day. That quote you see on the bottom is from Bishop Abram Dixon, the one who delivered the very powerful one sound word on May 3rd. He wrote when he got back, humble beginnings. Please don't forget about the chalkboard and wooden floors. Let's use that small first church as a symbol of hope for the rest of us, from wooden floors to marble palaces, humble beginnings. You can see a picture of Dr. Jackson, and then also the curator of the Chanpadong Museum or Church, giving deep insight with translation by Hannah Huntington. For all the brothers and sisters there, Hannah is born in Korea, and her Korean is perfect. And she was the one who translated the slides, and there she was giving the translation for brothers and sisters as they were on the floor. After that, the majority of them went on to the DMZ to pray for the victorious, peaceful reunification of the Korean Peninsula. It was actually cold and kind of overcast and dreary, but they brought light wherever they went. And then on May 7th, something really happened. Actually, here comes more of the personal part for me, and I think really for all of us with ACLC. Because on the global level, when we hold these major birthday celebrations for true parents, it's a global event. It's meant to be a global event. And so UPF and Women's Federation for World Peace, the global organizations, they really take center stage. And they're meant to take center stage because they are the work of true parents around the world. Both of them being like the peace UNs, a more male peace UN, a feminine peace UN, but they are the able type UNs. And there were leaders sitting prime ministers, presidents, vice presidents, first ladies in attendance. Of course, many of them, because of the rain on May 5th and the postponing to May 7th, many of them had to return to their countries. I'm sure you saw the coverage where the former prime minister of Niger, Mr. Rafini, who is the president of SINSAD, the Association of Sahel States, Saharan States in Africa, he stayed specifically for the opening and to really celebrate Mother's 80th birthday. It's really wonderful. Early on, I'm sorry if I'm going too long, early on, one of our clergy said that he realized his coming here and all of his life was by the ordered steps of God. I believe Kaio mentioned that also in her testimony this morning. And it's really so amazing. You know, May is the month, of course, of the founding of the Holy Spirit Association for the Unification of World Christianity. May is the founding of ACLC, the American Clergy Leadership Conference, on the weekend of May 20th and 21st in Korea. This year will be 23 years ago. May is also the anniversary, the 20th anniversary of ACLC leading the first MEPI, the first Middle East Peace Initiative, which later was actually taken up by UPF and so at times WFWP. But the first one, going to Rome, going to the catacombs, and then going to the Potter's Field to bury the cross. That happened 20 years ago this month. So it's amazing. They made the ordered steps in our lives. May is the month of my birthday. It's today 50 years ago, the month 50 years ago that I met my spiritual mother on my doorstep. She was selling, or she was fundraising with candles and for the unified family. And I didn't have any funds. I was home to get work. I just finished my first year in college. And she told me it was from the unified family, and the rest is history. Even though I wouldn't be able to visit the center for another 3 months when I went back to Austin. But just an amazing confluence of things going on. And ACLC, we didn't know really if we really would truly be, what our participation would be in the dedication. But it was amazing. ACLC was asked to really be part of the prayers, the water ceremony, to lead the water ceremony, and have our significant leadership there on stage. We had Dr. Abernathy, Dr. Rouse, Reverend Jackson, and William Montgomery representing Antonio Bowen. We had Bishop Charles Dudley from North Carolina, and we had Dr. Tanya Edwards and also Archbishop Solange Lewis. It was incredible. We didn't know that we would be there in the third row from the front. The first row was major leaders from around the world, our unification leaders and also world dignitaries. And then the second row was elders, mostly Korean elders. And then the third row was mostly ACLC, right in front of the stage. And what they had done, which we did not know about, was they had numbered first row, second row, and third row, 1 through 40. I was sitting in the last possible seat, C40, next to Pastor Michael White there in the yellow. And you can see the Bordeaux couple and others there in our line. And they came to us and told us these first 3 rows are going to participate in the temple ribbon cutting. And they came and gave a heart with a number on it and stuck it on our gloves. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe God's grace and God's love, that there was a seat with my name on it. And it was just incredible, brothers and sisters, to be there for the ribbon cutting. That's the first row. There was a second row and a third row. Like when the saints go marching in, I want to be in that number. There's True Mother entering the Chonwongung with Yonanim. As she enters, again, the UPA attendees are there. Mother goes right to the center of the Holy Sanctum. And we followed her in, but we were kept at the distance that you see there. There's Mother in the center of the Holy Sanctum. At the center of the Holy Sanctum, Mother first offered a profound, tearful prayer. She repented to our Heavenly Parent for it taking so long to erect and establish this place for him. She even used the word lacking, as she had in 2017, when we had the groundbreaking of the Chonwongung. You can see it's beautiful, beautiful. You'll probably see more photos of it, but just amazing. She pressed a stamp button, and all these veils that had covered these beautiful paintings with mother of pearl, were all the curtains dropped and they were revealed. And then Mother walked to the very end of it, to those doors there, supported by Yonanim and Wonju McDivitt. And she greeted us and said words of, and she was just beaming. She was full of joy. You could feel like a weight had been lifted off her shoulders as she had offered this amazing place to our true Heavenly Parent, to our true Father, and to all of mankind. Just a glorious, glorious place. So I just want to thank you all for your forbearance in my long testimony. We love you, true parents. We love you, true mother.
Wow, thank you so much, Reverend Hernandez. Let's give him a hand for really taking us through every single step of what our ACLC and YCLC brothers and sisters were able to experience in Korea, but also for your personal testimony and seeing just so much love our true parents have for our brothers and sisters and what they really want to offer every single time that we show up. So really appreciate that precious testimony. And at this time, brothers and sisters, we'd like to go into our breakout to be able to share any insights and takeaways from today's guidance from Dr. Yong, as well as Reverend Hernandez's testimony. So if you're prompted to join a breakout, please click join. If you're unable to at this time, please write down your reflections. So let's go into our breakouts. Welcome back, brothers and sisters. We had a wonderful time sharing your insights and takeaways. And to share with the whole community, I'd like to invite up Mrs. Sandra Cousson. So, Mrs. Cousson, if you can please unmute and share.
Thank you. Good morning, Dr. Yong, brothers and sisters. Yes, today's talk really resonated with me on many points. I'll just share a few. After receiving the special grace, my husband and I have really redetermined ourselves and absolutely determined to become a Chambo couple. And of course, that comes with challenges from heaven. So Dr. Young's words on being the Alpha and Omega, I really want to, that was just so profound. And I really want to keep that in my mind and heart as I'm aware of the challenges that are going to come, and stay the course until we can really offer that as a couple. And another point that goes along with that is what Dr. Young shared about having that filial heart so that you can receive heaven's guidance in your daily life and your offerings. And, so I really need to reflect on that, where I'm at, and with my vertical connections, with my relationships, how unchanging I am. So there's a lot to digest, and I'm really grateful for the message. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Cousson, for that wonderful sharing and determination. And of course, as a community, we're all right with you, and we want to support you in that, in achieving that, accomplishing Chambo with your husband. So thank you for that beautiful determination. And with that, brothers and sisters, we will be keeping our sharing to just one person today due to time, but I really appreciate that you were able to share your insights and takeaways with one another. And of course, not just here on Morning Heart Devotion, but all across the world. Let us continue to share and spread Dr. Yong's message and inviting people to Morning Heart Devotion, whether it be through Zoom, Facebook, or YouTube links, so that more and more people will be inspired by God's words at this time. And also, we will have transcripts and links to the images that Dr. Yong shows available on edu.familyfed.org, courtesy of Dr. Kylie. So thank you so much, Dr. Kylie, for preparing these every single day for all of us to see. And as well as, if you could turn your attention towards the chat, we'll be posting up the link for the donation page where we can all joyfully give from our heart to continue this Morning Heart Devotion ministry going strong, as well as other ways to contribute is offering the opening prayer and the musical offering. So you can always contact Halzor at TZORER@unification.org. And to receive our musical offering for today, I'd like to invite up Mrs. Hiroko Hiroi. So Hiroko-san, if you can please unmute and offer your music.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Okay, so good morning, Dr. Young and brothers and sisters all over the world. So I usually love singing in Korean, Hangul, but today I want to sing in English. So today's song is about longing heart. Dr. Young always tells us longing heart is very essential to dwell in the kingdom of heaven. So so I think, witness cultivates our longing heart so greatly and truly. I'm realizing. So I want to offer a song. The title is Somewhere Out There. Somewhere out there beneath the pale moonlight. Someone thinking of me and loving me tonight. Somewhere out there, someone's saying a prayer that we'll find one another in the big somewhere out there. And even though I know how very far apart we are, it helps to think we might be wishing on the same bright star. And when the night winds start to sing a lonesome lullaby, it helps to think we are sleeping underneath the same big sky. Somewhere out there, if love can see us through, then we'll be together somewhere out where dreams come true. And even though I know how very far apart we are, it helps to think we might be wishing on the same bright star. And when the night winds start to sing a lonesome lullaby, it helps to think we are sleeping underneath the same big star. Somewhere out there, if love can see us through, then we'll be together somewhere out where dreams come true. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Wow, thank you so much, Hiroko-san, for your beautiful voice, for such a sweet song of really thinking and longing, putting the heart of longing for someone. We all long for our beloved true parents and for Dr. Yong to come back to America soon. And of course, for our beloved family members. Thank you so much for that beautiful offering. And with that, brothers and sisters, we'd like to close out this morning heart devotion experience in prayer. And to offer the prayer, I'd like to invite up Mr. Ray Lepalkin. Mr. Lepalkin, can you please unmute and offer the closing prayer, please?
Thank you, Yasu. Good morning, everyone. Again, our dear Heavenly Parent, our true parents, again, our utmost gratitude, again, that we could spend each morning like this together and share, brothers and sisters. We start our day together, and each day we learn a little bit more about your heart, your Han, and we realize that this was the drive and the motivation of our true parents to continue through decades of their life, each day, each moment, that they can think of you and be the driving force, Father, to fulfill your providence. So we're so grateful that we can be participants at this time in history, to have this opportunity, Father. Even we don't understand how and why we got here at this time and place, but still we have this opportunity, Father, to be filial sons and daughters to our true parents and represent them in our respective cities and states and here in the United States and North America, Father. So please receive our Jansung this morning. We continue our devotion, and we pray that each of us throughout this day can go out and again represent you and have a wonderful day with our family, our spouses, and as we everybody doing different activities, whether we're working or reaching out. And again, it's always just representing you, Father, that we can be those filial sons and daughters, Father, and achieve finally that first blessing of being one in heart with you. So again, we thank you, and we offer all this in the name of Ray Mia Palkin and all the blessed Central families here. Adieu.
Adieu. Thank you so much, Mr. Lepalkin, for closing us out with a wonderful prayer. And with that, brothers and sisters, I really want to thank each and every one of you for joining and making this morning heart devotion experience wonderful. And Dr. Yong, we love you so much. Thank you for always pouring your heart and Jeonsung in your guidances that you should provide us every single day. We really appreciate it. And with that, brothers and sisters, we wish you a happy, healthy, and victorious day today. And we'll see each other tomorrow. Bye-bye.